Alright, so here we have the BAMA Performance tool we're going to install on an 89 Ford Mustang Foxbody GT 5.0. And what you get here is your tune specs. You get your actual chip, your plaque for the dash, and the cable and the controller. And we're going to show you step by step how we install this on a Foxbody Mustang. First, you're going to remove the kick panel here from the Mustang on the passenger side. Now this clip is going to be kind of hard to get out, so you want to wiggle it out with the screwdriver. Make sure not to break it or you're going to have to buy a new one. And then you just pull out the side piece. There's going to be a insulation on there. Pull that out. Here's your computer. So you can see there's a bunch of wires going to it. So just to ease the removal of it, we're going to disconnect all these connectors that are here on the side. And just be careful with the clips, not to get them broken. Okay, once you get all those disconnected, there's going to be a small 7 or 8 millimeter bolt here on the side, which we're going to get a ratchet to take out. And then this is the connector for the computer here, so we're going to take this, it's an 11 millimeter socket, or 10 millimeter, and I like to disconnect this one first. Makes it easier to unplug it while the computer's still in there. It gets pretty loose towards the end, so you don't know when it's actually disconnected. So just keep going. Okay. So once it's all disconnected, you can just move this out of the way. And then we're going to take the small, it's going to be a 7 millimeter socket. Now be careful not to drop that little bolt into the crevice there of the fender, because you're going to have a fun time fishing it out. Okay, so once this is out of the way, you can pretty much pull the computer down and out of the car. And there's bolts here that you have to undo. You're going to need your small ratchet. You can even get some T wrenches like this, or some like this. They work better. So we're going to take this apart. You gotta make sure that you get the right torque socket so you don't strip the bolts, because I don't know where you can find them unless you go and get a used one. Oh, there's a couple more here on the edge. That one takes a smaller size. To go with one of these. Alright, so the previous tools I didn't go small enough, so I had to get my other set that goes smaller. Here we go. So once you get this off, now this is the inside of the computer here. As you can see, Ford coated these with that plastic coating, kind of like a waterproof. And here's the plug. You see all this coating on it. So we're gonna have to clean it all out and to get metal to metal. If not, your computer's not gonna make a good contact. So we're gonna remove all these bolts here, pull it apart, and then clean this connector really good, like it says on the instructions. They even give you a little scuff pad, so you can, once you get it all clean, scuff it all the way down to the brass. And then once you're to that step, we'll come back and do the rest of the installation, because that's going to take about half an hour to clean it out. So you can use some alcohol to rub that out, and then a little pick to clean it, but just make sure you don't use like a sharp knife or anything where you can damage the computer. Okay, so we already cleaned the connector here. If you can see closely, it's really clean here. We went ahead and scrubbed it with the scruff pad. Make sure that it's all the way to the metal connectors, and you want to do that on both sides, so you make sure you get a good connection on it. To get this gooey stuff off, I just used a towel with some non-chlorinated brake cleaner. It just made it a lot easier to get that sticky stuff off. Make sure everything is clean. It doesn't leave a residue. So once it's all clean, now we can go on to installing the chip on it. Okay, so we just plugged in the chip here. Make sure everything is aligned. When you are putting it in, there is going to be like this little piece right here that's going to have to be bent back. So just as you push it in, let it tip over slightly. You know, make sure you don't bend it back and forth because it's going to break. So make sure everything is good, nice and tight in there, nice and even. So that's what it's going to look in there. Obviously you can't put it the other way down because this part goes right here. So as you can see, there's really no room underneath to have the chip on there. Plus, you know, you want the port to be down through there, through that hole, to get the wire out. So once that is done there, we're going to get the cable that came with it and connect it to the computer here so we can run it out. Okay, so once everything is there, I put the bolts in here to hold it in place. We connect this cable in here, and that's gonna go out through the opening like I said before, and this sits in the car like this. Okay, now on the instructions, they want you to go and install in the car before you finish it, connect everything and make sure it starts. If it doesn't start, then you have to take this off and clean the connectors even more. So we're gonna go ahead and take this over to the vehicle and then hook it up and see if the vehicle starts, and we'll go from there. Go. Okay, so we just connected all the connectors here, plugged the main harness to the computer, and we're just gonna leave it here like the instructions say, to make sure that everything runs fine. So everything's connected. We just connected the battery cable. So now we're gonna go ahead and turn the key and see if the vehicle turns over. Now if it starts, we have succeeded installed it. If not, then we have to redo it. Well, as you see, the vehicle started, so everything went good. Now we're gonna disconnect everything again the same way, you know, unbolt the main connector, disconnect all the cables, put the computer in the housing, put it in the right spot there, put that holder on there, and put it all back together. So I'm gonna unplug all these items here now, and then go and put the casing on the computer, and we'll show you how to put that casing back on there, which is straightforward, but we'll go to that spot. Okay, so we got the computer out of the car now. We're gonna put the metal housing back on there. You know, straightforward. Just make sure it goes over everything, just how you took it off. Now, if you can see, the connector is gonna be kind of tight in here. What I did is kind of move it out of the way so it goes out the side here. If you put it on top, it's gonna pinch a little bit. I didn't like that way that looks, so that's what I'm gonna do there. And then put all your bolts back together. There's 4 bolts here on top. And don't forget the smaller 2 bolts here on the front. Now you gotta make sure that all these are nice and tight. They don't have to be over tying, they just hold everything together. You don't want to strip any of the bolts. And then finally, gonna turn this around, and there's the other 4 bolts here on the back. Alright, so this is all ready to go back in the car. Your chip is going to stick out a little bit through the housing here, and then you have the cable that you have to run, and you put your knob somewhere where you can turn it easily. Now, what I'm going to do is put a little bit of tape here just to kind of protect from stuff, dirt getting in there, and I'll show you what I do here in a minute. But other than that, you're ready to go put it in the car. Okay, so we have the computer here. Again, it has the cable that comes out. We put some duct tape to cover that chip here. You can choose where you want that knob to be. We run it up here to the back of the dash, and then behind the glove box here, as you can see, the cable out of the way. We run it in to the center console in here, and then put it where it's going to be here underneath your ashtray. I mean, for me, I don't want that knob in plain sight where people can just turn it, so we're going to leave it right here. You can just take off your ashtray, set the tune that you want, and just leave it back in there. But that is your preference. That's just the way we did it. So I'm just going to tuck all that wire back in, and then we'll install the computer back in there. Okay, so we have the computer back in there. To wiggle it in there, it's going to be a little bit tight because of that cable that's going to be around the box, but you can get it in there. Put that bolt back in there. So now just put your connector back in there like before. It's going to be a tight fit in here, but it can be done. And then get your 10mm socket, and we're going to tighten that up. Once the little tab hits the computer, you know that's all the way seated. It's gonna be snug. You don't want to keep going on that bolt, okay? Okay, so everything is on there. We just gotta connect all these connectors back the way they were before. And then make sure they're on there tight and snug. Okay, put them all back where they went. And you get your insulation piece here. Make sure you put it back on there as well. Okay, then once you're done with that, you get your kick panel and install it. Tricky part is going to be putting it on the side here first. Put it behind your scuff plate, and then make sure to align the tabs underneath to install it back in there, okay? Okay, and once you're done, you just put your plastic piece back in the corner. Obviously we broke ours, so we're gonna have to go buy a new one, and then you'll be ready to take it for a test drive. Alright, so with that installed, it's running good, and we're ready for a test drive and to go have some fun. Hope this video helped you guys, and keep posted for more Mustang how-to videos. Thank you.